In this video, we're going to look at evaluating composite functions. So over here for our first problem, we have two functions. We have h of n equals negative 4n squared, and we have f of x equals negative 2x squared minus hx. So let's try doing this. If we know that we're looking for f of 0 and then h of 0, we can try looking at plugging in 0 into this equation and then plugging that into the next equation. Okay, so let's look at this, the h of f of 0. So let's start with inside the parentheses and let's do f of 0. So if we do f of 0, then we'd plug in 0 every time we see an x. So this would be negative 2 0 squared minus h of 0. Okay, so we know that 0 squared is 0 times negative 2 is 0. And then we know that h of 0 equals negative 4 0 squared. And so we know that 0 squared is still 0 times negative 4 is 0. So we get f of 0 as 0. Okay, so now we have f of 0 equals 0. And then we're going to have, well, let's just get rid of that. Alright, so now we're going to plug in our value that we got for f of 0, and we're going to plug it into h. So now we're going to have h of 0. And the same thing over here, 0 squared is 0 times negative 4 is 0. Alright, so our next question here, we'll just do this one on the scratch pad. So let's look at this. So we have h of negative 1. So let's start with that. So let's plug in negative 1 into this h of t function. So we'll have h of t equals t. Alright, so we're going to plug in negative 1. So we're going to have h of negative 1. And since t is just the variable, so we're going to have h of 1 equals negative 1. And then we're going to plug in negative 1 into this g function. So we're going to have g of negative 1. And we're going to do that because we're going to insert our h of negative 1 value here. And so we're going to have our new outer function, g of negative 1. Alright, so g of negative 1 equals, and then 3 negative 1 squared plus 3 and then h of negative 1. Okay, and we see that this is going to equal negative 1 times negative 1 is 1, positive 1, and then positive 1 times 3 is 3. And then h of negative 1 is negative 1 times positive 3 is negative 3. And so 3 minus 3 equals 0. Okay, so this next one here, we're going to start with h of 0 because we're going to do the inner function first. That's usually easiest for me. So we'll have h of 0 equals negative 4 and then 0 squared minus 6, 0 plus g of n. Okay, so let's start over here. So we know 0 times 0 is 0 times negative 4 is 0. And then 6 times 0 is 0. And then g of n, so let's look over here at g of n. And so we're going to plug 0 into this g of n function. So we're going to have 2 times 0 minus 2 and then f of t. Looks like they don't like us. Okay, so we'll just get rid of these and we'll move this over here so we have room. Okay, so let's see what we got so far. So this 2 times 0 is 0, and then minus 2 times f of t. So we're going to have 2 and then f of t. We're going to plug in negative 2, 0 plus 7, because this is our f function right here. Alright, so this is going to be equal to, so 0 times negative 2 is 0, plus 7 is 7. So 0 times negative 2 is 0, plus 7 is 7. So we're going to have, this just goes away, so we have negative 2 times 7, and that equals negative 14. And then we're going to do f of negative 14. So we finished this part. So this h of 0 equals negative 14. So now let's clear off some space over here. Alright, so now we're going to do f of 14. I'm sorry, negative 14. Alright, so we have negative 2, and then we'll plug in negative 14 for that x value, and then plus 7. Alright, so negative 2 times negative 14 is positive 28, and then plus 7, and then that's going to be equal to 35. Alright, so hopefully that video helped you out. If you have any questions, just let me know.